Hi, welcome to the Piano Podcast. I'm your host, Mario O'Hara, and I have a special guest with me in this special series on piano pedagogy with my piano pedagogy class. And my first guest here is India Aquino. India, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And you're going to be sharing your little project that you developed over this semester on this podcast episode. And why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Basically, my project details the benefits of using piano duets when you're teaching younger students, especially elementary level, between the ages of 6 and 12, because I believe that establishing a really good rapport with your students is a very important aspect of teaching them effectively. Not only is it a good teaching skill for things like note values and rhythm and whatnot, but I also feel like if it builds more confidence with them sharing ideas between the student and teacher, that progress is a lot more marked.
Right, and we're actually going to see some of this in action with some of your students, correct?
Yes.
Great, so I hope you guys enjoy India's podcast episode that she's produced for you here today.
Me too, I hope you like it. Hi, my name is India Aquino, and for this episode of Mario O'Hara's podcast, we are talking about the benefits of using duet performances when it comes to teaching elementary level students. I've noticed that there are a lot of benefits to using these duet performances within lessons and not only within a performance opportunity, mostly because, for one, it helps reinforce a lot of basic concepts. You have things like rhythm, especially when they're stumbling over notes and trying to figure out what flows into what, and they have their most hesitations. The concept of duet performances with the teacher playing along with them can really provide a sort of built-in metronome with which they can keep a really steady, consistent tempo, and it helps them hear a lot of their inconsistencies a lot better. Additionally, I think it gives the student a lot more to relate to with the teacher. Teachers can seem very intimidating, and while a commanding presence is good for, I think, older students, especially in a group setting, I think that in a younger setting, especially if your student is shy and perhaps a little disencouraged by their seemingly lack of progress, that duet performances can sort of bring the teacher a little bit closer to the student's level and make them a relatable human being. Additionally, I also think that when you have that other person aspect, you can hear a lot of the inconsistencies of your students playing a lot better. You may notice that their dynamics are a little bit weak because you're sitting right next to them. You see what they do. It helps you keep an eye on a lot of their things like finger technique and, like I said, dynamics and rhythm, just because you're right there. You're right there with them, and it really helps you to figure out from a closer, more microscopic level what they might need. Related to this, I really think that duet performances can make your students into much more confident, more capable performers. I know this because I do have one student. Her name is Linda Neely. This is her first year learning piano. She's about 9 years old now, and I remember her being extremely shy and extremely timid when she first met me. And really, it wasn't until I hit upon the concept of playing a lot more duets with her and, playing with her and really sitting next to her and having that closer bond with her that she really started opening up. And her demeanor is markedly different. She's much more talkative now. She contributes a lot more to the lesson. And really, you wouldn't believe it was the same person. And on the other end of the spectrum, I have another student named Amy. Amy is about 10 years old now. She is quite the opposite of Linda. She was very exuberant, very enthusiastic. And even though she had this enthusiasm within her, her interest in the piano was, for a third-year student, not what you would expect. And with her, I noticed that duet performances kind of made the lesson more fun to her. It gave her something to look forward to. It gave her something that she could really, kind of get into. And once again, it really brought me a little bit closer to her level. I was not such an intimidating figure, and began to see me more as like a friendly sort of figure rather than just an authority figure, which I think helps when it comes to elementary level students. 1, 2, ready, go. No. If it's below the notes, if it's below the words, it's in your left hand. Okay. 2 comments. One of them, just because it's softer, doesn't mean you play it slower. Because notice what you seem to do was, this part sounded great. No, and this one, I think you were concentrating too hard on playing it soft. So you tended to go like... No. Another thing, you look really, really tense right now. Like your shoulders are kind of up and your hands are kind of flat. So here, sit the way you were. Put your hands up the way they were. Okay, so keep your shoulders down a little bit. Shake them out, shake them out. Okay, and remember what we talked about, having like the blooming flowers for our hands. So you want to keep your fingers nice and curved. And that'll help you get an even louder kind of, because your fingers are even stronger when you curve them up like that. Okay, do you want to try it with the duet, or do you want to?
Try with the duet.
You want to try it? Yeah, let's try it. Come on. Okay. So, let's see. Just move your hands up to the next group of... There we go. And I'll sit down over here. Okay. So we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, ready, go. And... And notice you're trying to do the forte and the piano thing, so I think you're getting that concept pretty well. Okay. I also have another student. Her name is Amy, and she has quite the opposite demeanor than Linda when it comes to playing the piano. She's not very shy, she's very talkative, very exuberant, very enthusiastic, but unfortunately she hasn't been able to sustain much interest within the piano. And therefore sometimes when you try to explain certain concepts to her or really make her understand them, you know, it's a classic kid syndrome. It goes in one ear, out the other. And it was really when it came to a lot of duet performances that we did together, she was able to understand a lot more concepts a lot more easily, especially things like rhythm. She's a little bit weak on rhythm and on things like, you know, a lot of ear training things like steps and skips. But when we played together and she was able to hear a lot more harmonic aspects and really have me up there close, kind of keeping an eye on her, she seemed to try a little bit harder and have an easier time understanding a lot of those concepts. Let's start again. 1, 2, ready, go.